Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk to you about something that I know it's going to be of great value to a lot of you. And that is why you are pricing your offer wrong and how to know when to increase it. Okay. I'm going to be telling you guys following this pricing guide from Alex Hormozy, which covers exactly how much to increase your price depending on your current closing rate. Okay. But before that, I want to go over the key differences that you will see when you have a low price against a high ticket offer or a good pricing, and how those could really be impacting your business so that you truly understand how and when you should adjust your pricings and what you will see from your customer depending on the price that you currently have. But first, I want to tell you guys about a story of a friend of mine that does wraps for cars. Pretty much, he puts that plastic wrap around it and that looks like paint. And he was telling me about something that I found really interesting that I think it's going to resonate with a lot of you guys. And he was telling me about the difference from a client who arrives with a little Chevy and someone who arrives with a Ferrari. And he told me that whenever someone arrives with a car like this one, and they could be asking maybe for only having their rims done, he told me that it's crazy how much they start asking him for, how they are counter offering the price every time, asking for discounts, asking for specific time frames to know when the car is going to be ready. And once he delivers the car, they pretty much have a magnifier glass seeing every single detail, trying to see if anything went wrong with the whole process. Against when someone calls him that has a Ferrari, they pretty much give him the keys, ask him for the price. They say, okay, let's do it. He takes the car from their house to the shop, takes it back once it's ready, and the guy pretty much never comes out to see the car, nothing. He just calls him again to ask how much is it for another car. But he told me that it is a complete difference, not only on the price that he can charge for something like this, but also on the time that he has to spend on a client. He has to spend, even if you don't believe it, a lot of more time on the client that is taking his little Chevy to the shop against the guy who took his Ferrari. And if you think about it, it makes sense because the guy who took his Ferrari has a lot more money, so he doesn't really care. While the guy who took his Chevy, I'm almost sure that saved up a lot of money to be able to make this purchase. So he's obviously trying to make it worth his money. And that's why he's pretty much has a magnifier's glass seeing every single detail to make sure that what he put his hard-earned money towards is giving him the value that he is expecting, right? And the same thing applies to your service business. If we see what happens when we have a low price, well, to start with the business owner side, the usual things that is going to happen is that you have razor thin margins, which means that no money will be left to invest in quality delivery, team, or growth. And I'm going to be going over how that same thing happened to me when I had this insane offer 9 years ago. But I'm going to go over that in a few moments. But now the second thing is you're going to attract worst clients because it starts being price sensitive. Your customers complain constantly and are never satisfied. And like I said, on this case with the Chevy, where since they are investing all their money or to something that you can't give so much value towards, they are very inclined to start complaining and trying to get more from the money that they invested. It also creates commoditization. You're easily compared to your competitors, leading to price wars where you start feeling like all you are offering is a good price, and you think that that's the main thing that is driving sales. So you start being scared and saying like, whoa, my competitors just lowered their price. If I don't lower mine, I'm going to lose all sales that I'm currently having. And that sometimes ends up being true due to that you right now are not attracting good clients that are looking for the best service. They're looking for the best price. Okay. Now, the fourth thing is that it forces you to race to the bottom, constant pressure to lower price further. And that's exactly what I just talked about. It also drives burnout and overwhelm because you need a massive volume to make decent money. Obviously, if you're charging $97 against a 1K offer, with the 1K offer, you're only going to need 10 clients in order to get to 10K, while at the 97 offer, you're going to need a lot more, right? Now, there's no room for exceptional service. Can't afford the best tools, team, or client experience. And this is due to your margins being so low that you can't afford this. Weak positioning. You're seen just as another cheap option in the market. When they think of you, they don't ask themselves like, why is he charging so much? What is the value that he's providing? How can he have this price? What is the outcome that he's giving to his clients? You're pretty much just competing on price, and you're part of the whole group that is fighting for who has the cheapest offer and who can deliver service at the cheapest price. And now for your clients, it has a low emotional investment since it didn't really cost much. They don't value it. It has poor perceived value. If it's cheap, it can't be that good. Worse results because low investment equals low commitment, which usually equals poor outcomes. Less attention from the provider or you as a provider, service provider, which means you can afford to give them the premium service that they might be looking for. And there's a higher likelihood or quitting because usually when you have a poor price, you attract people looking for very cheap prices who don't have the best mentality and don't understand that they need to put the work in. Now, on the contrary, when we focus on a high ticket offer, for you as the business owner, you'll see healthy margins, which means you can invest money into better delivery and client success. You can attract the best clients who are serious and committed customers who value the results and not value the cheap prices. They're looking for someone who can deliver amazing results against someone who can deliver some results at the best price possible. So you're going to be also be positioning yourself at a premium position, seen as the expert or luxury choice in your market. You're going to be the one that they're going to be asking, why is he charging so much? How can he be charging at that price? What are the results that he is giving his clients in order to be able to charge this? Now, also sustainable growth, which means quality over quantity approach. Room for innovation. You can invest in cutting edge tools and methods. And you're also going to have strong market position. It becomes harder for your competitors to displace you. Obviously, if you're charging a higher ticket and you have healthier margins and you can invest into better outcomes for your clients, if you take that into account against someone who is really working on very little margins, who is barely giving any value to their customers, it's going to be a no-brainer for the clients to go with you. And even more so for the clients that have the money to invest in this and have the mentality to make it work. And now for the clients, it's going to be a high emotional investment because significant financial commitment usually drives engagement. Obviously, if you make a bigger purchase, you feel more committed to it and you feel more inclined into putting the work against maybe purchasing something very low ticket where you don't feel any pressure towards making it work. They also have a higher perceived value where the usual thinking process is this is expensive, so it must be of premium quality. It is also more likely that the client will have better results because higher investment usually translates to higher commitment, and that usually translates to better outcome. They are also going to have a premium experience because they're going to have access to the best resources, tools, and attention that you're going to be able to provide due to your healthy margins. They're going to have exclusive access because they're going to be part of a smaller and more elite group. Obviously, if you're charging 1K, you're not going to have as many people or as many clients as if you were charging $97 for your service. And that means that the group is going to be smaller, more elite, and you can invest your own time into each of them. If you have 10 clients paying you 1K against having 1,000 clients paying you 100 or 100 clients paying you 100 to get to that same 10K, which you can't be having one-to-one work with them because there's simply no way or no time in order to make it work. And also they can expect better and faster results because you as a provider of the service can afford to invest in speed and efficiency by hiring better people, having better systems, doing more for them that is gonna take them from A to B in a faster time frame. And now I want to tell you guys about the story that I was saying a little bit earlier, that I'm sure that's going to resonate with a lot of you guys when you started out your business. And this is really going to explain how having a low ticket offer ends up affecting more your business and your client, and how if you don't make the change quickly, it could lead up to your business pretty much going bankrupt. Okay, so I made this little chart right here that has the 6 things that usually as a business owner we focus on. That is acquisition, conversion, fulfillment, support, operations, direction, where acquisition can be anything like content, ads, prospecting. Conversions can be sales, DM, calls, funnels, fulfillment, product or service delivery, support, customer service, operations, team, systems, tools, direction, vision, or key decisions. Okay. Now, when I started my business selling Shopify stores for the great amount of 250 USD each 9 years ago, what I encountered was this. On my first month, I was focusing mainly on acquisition and conversions because I was trying to drive sales, right? And I didn't have any fulfillment. I didn't have clients yet. So no support was needed, no operations. Direction pretty much was done before. So let's say that 50% of my time was allocated in acquisition, 50% on conversion, 0% on fulfillment, 0 on support, 0 on operation, 0 on direction. And due to this, since I focused so much of my time on sales, I was able to make 5 sales, which ended up making me $1,250. Okay. Now on the second month, what happened was, since I already had 5 clients, I had to deliver time and fulfillment because I needed to deliver the service so that my clients were happy. So on fulfillment, I had to spend around, let's say, 30% of my time, maybe 20% on support, helping people upload products, customize their theme, showing them how to create discounts, anything that they needed to use the store that I was giving them and creating for them, right? Maybe 0 time in operations, no direction needed either. But since I had to spend 50% of my time between fulfillment and support, the acquisition and conversion time that I had also lowered. So I could only invest 25% on each of them. And because of this, my sales obviously went down. This month, I only made 2 sales, driving in 500 USD. Okay. And on the third month, what happened was that I said, oh, what happened? Why am I losing money? Why did my first month I do so good, and now on my second month I did less than half of what I did? And I noticed that I needed a team. I couldn't be focusing on fulfillment and support. So I said, you know what? Let's hire someone. I need a team. I need a setter, I need a closer, I need a designer who is gonna make the logos and the whole website design, I need a developer who's gonna actually implement the design, right? So I started investing more time in operations because I said I need them fast, or this month I'm not gonna be able to make any sales either. So I started implementing 30% of my time into operations, 10% into direction, trying to direct everyone who I was hiring, giving them the things that they needed to do, creating SOPs, creating everything to make it work. Okay? But due to this, maybe my fulfillment in the beginning maybe lowered to 15% because it takes time for the designer and for the developer to be ready to start working. They need to go through the whole capacitation process, training process, and maybe the support did go a lot lower because most of these things could be done from an agent. But still, if we add up right here, we have 20% plus 30, 50 plus 10, 60%. So I only had 20% towards sales. And because of this, I also only made 2 sales, which ended up being another $500. But now I had a new problem. I had to hire a whole team. And if you take into account that I was using ads to make the sales, so I had ads. Now I had a team. I had, let's say, 1 designer, 1 developer. Those are designer, developer. I also had some VAs helping me with the support. And I also hired a closer. But if you guys add up all of these costs, and I'm only charging 250 USD per website, there ends up being no business there. Because if you add everything up, it takes more money to be able to create a single store than what it makes me to make the sale, right? So I noticed this, and by the 4th month, now I needed to increase my prices from 250 to at least $1,000. And this is exactly why it is so important that you guys come up with a good pricing strategy from the beginning, that you really understand how once you start getting more volume inside your business, how that's going to be affecting the costs, and how if you have a low price, you pretty much are going to end up having no business at all. So if you're running into any issues like this, remember that right now I have a free consulting call in the link below where I'll be helping you guys find bottlenecks and improvements, help you guys with what you already know that you should be doing, but you're not doing. I'm going to guide you towards how to do it faster through sales, setters, closers, closing rate, content optimization, offer creation, change or optimization, AI implementations, automations, systems, and ads. So obviously not everyone's gonna need the same thing. This is gonna be on a one-to-one basis. And I'm not gonna lie, there's also gonna be a pitch inside that consulting call. But if we decide to not work together, you can walk away without any remorse and go with that strategy that I gave you for free and implement it yourself. So yeah, no, there wouldn't be any problem with that. And now I want to show you guys the exact pricing rate that Alex Hormozi just shared that I received from him. Is depending on the closing rate that you guys should know what closing rate you're currently having, is the thing that how much you should be increasing your price, okay? Because remember that with the closing rate, we can use that as a pricing diagnostic. And this is it. Okay, so if we have 80% upwards closing rate, that's very good closing rate, you're really underpriced. Your price should be from 3 to 4 times higher, okay? So if you're charging $100 for your coaching or course and you have an 80% plus closing rate, you could be charging 300 to 400. If your closing rate is from 60 to 80, you're underpriced by 2 to 3x. You could be doubling or tripling your prices. If your closing rate is 50 to 60, you're underpriced by 1.2 to 1.5 to 2x. You should increase your prices 50 to 100%. If your closing rate is 40 to 50, you're underpriced by 1.25 to 1.5. Increase your prices from 25 to 50%. And if you have a 30 to 40 closing rate, you're probably appropriately priced, okay? So maintain it like that. And if your closing rate is below 30%, you should be focusing on selling better before touching the price. But remember, guys, that in order for this to work, you need to have a good offer. That's why this is the second video of this series. The first one was actually how to create and how to improve our offer. Because if you don't have an offer that really differentiates from the competition and that really works as a guarantee and really shows the value that you will be providing, then it's going to be very difficult for you to increase your price that much. Maybe if you already have an 80% closing rate, you can increase by 3 to 4x. But on the contrary, if you change your offer and if you start giving more value to your customer against what you're currently giving or providing him with, you could be increasing easily by 10x or 20x your price by just changing and improving your offer, okay? So if you have a bad offer, this is obviously not gonna work. But yeah, the math is simple. If you're closing 8 out of 10 prospects, you're simply not charging enough. And as a quick reminder, the correct price is one in which you hear no more often than yes, but you make more money, right? So like what I said earlier, if maybe we're charging $100, what 8 out of 10 people are saying yes, if we start charging, let's say 300 to 400, and now only 40% of them, which is half of them, say yes, but we increased our pricing 3x or 4x, that means that if we make numbers, we're going to be making over twice as much as the amount that we were previously making, while at the same time having to maintain less customers, being able to provide them better value for what they are paying. And if you have any questions about all of this that we worked on today or what we worked on the past video regarding offers, make sure to comment it down below. I'll be answering every single comment, helping as much as I can. Remember that the thing that I want to achieve with this YouTube channel is to be able to provide as much free value to you guys so that you guys can see the expertise that I have, in order that you guys want to work with me so that I help you grow your business and scale your business even faster, okay? So also remember about the free consulting call in the link below. And the next video, I'm going to be going over the third step on how to scale to 100K. That is going to be content. And we're going to be talking about how to leverage content creation and organic content to be able to grow our brand and grow our income and grow our business even faster. Okay, so if you're interested in that, subscribe so that you see it once it's out, and I'll see you guys there. Have a good one.